Hi all, welcome back. In today's video, I'll show you how to deploy a web application which uses a database using the Elastic Beanstalk platform. As we all know, Elastic Beanstalk is a service for deploying web applications and services. You just need to upload the code. Beanstalk will take care of the deployment, capacity provisioning, load balancing, auto-scaling, database connectivity, and health monitoring. I had earlier done a video on how to deploy a simple web application in Elastic Beanstalk without using database. I'll give the link to that video in the video description. And as I said earlier, in this video I will show you how to deploy an application with the database. We'll use the RDS database and we'll see how to connect the application with the database. And the application which we are going to deploy, it's a very simple bookseller application. In the main page, a few authors will be listed. You can choose any of the authors, and once you choose the author, it will list the books written by that particular author. And then you can choose any of those books and place an order. And once you complete the order, it will show you a feedback link. You can give the feedback and finally you can return back to the main page. Again, please don't expect a very sophisticated e-commerce web page, because our aim is not to learn how to build an e-commerce website, but how to deploy an application with database in the Elastic Beanstalk. In this example, basically there is a database which is used for listing the books against the authors along with some of the other attributes of the book, including the price, etc. In this lab, we will use three main components. One is a Cloud9 environment, which I will use it as my development environment. Then I will use Aurora MySQL database. Then I will use Elastic Beanstalk platform. These are the three important AWS services which we are going to use in this particular lab. In the video description, I will give the link to the cheat sheet which will help you in doing this exercise yourself. I will also give the code which I am using for deploying this particular lab. So you just need to download it and you can use the same code. And if you want to make any modifications to that code, you can do that. It's Java code. Okay, without further delay, let's begin by launching a Cloud9 environment. Okay, as the first step, we need to launch a Cloud9 environment. So click on Cloud9. Okay, you can click on Create Environment. So if you're not familiar with Cloud9, basically it is a integrated development environment, IDE, provided by AWS. You can develop your code, you can do the testing, debugging, etc. on Cloud9. We'll see how Cloud9 works. As a first step, you have to create a Cloud9 environment where you have to specify which is the OS, which is the AMI which will be running on this environment, whether it is Amazon Linux 2 or Ubuntu, etc. So let us give a name to this. I'll give the name as Beanstalk Cloud9. Any name is okay. Description, Beanstalk Cloud9, anything you can add. You can convert an existing EC2 instance into Cloud9, or you can create a new EC2 instance. I will go for new EC2 instance. And you can choose between T2 micro, T3 small, M5 large, etc. I'm going with the smallest one, which is free tier eligible as well. Platform, you can choose Amazon Linux 2 or Ubuntu. I'm going with Ubuntu. Timeout 30 minutes. If you don't use Cloud9 for 30 minutes, the corresponding EC2 will go into sleep mode. Connection, systems manager, this is okay. All these you can leave it as default. Just click on create. Okay, it has created the Cloud9 environment. You can click on open. It won't be ready, it will take a couple of minutes, but let me click on open. Select it, click on open. It will take a couple of minutes. We'll wait till then. Our Cloud9 environment is ready. Now we can issue various commands from this Cloud9 environment. This is the Cloud9 terminal. Let us make it big screen. You can click on this. Okay, so we get the entire full screen now. Now the first thing is we have to download the code. As I said, I'm providing you with the code and I'll give you the link as well in the video description. You can download the code from there. And this code includes the Java code which powers that particular bookseller website, the connectivity with the database, etc. You can go through the code once you get access to it. As the first step, we need to download the code. Let me copy paste the wget command for the same. As I said, I will give you this link in the video description so that you can also download the code from the same location. Now the code is here. I need to untar this file. Okay, so you can see that it has created the folder structure itself. We can install the tree utility so that we can see the folder structure very clearly. Let me do that. Once it is ready, if you do tree space dot, you can see the folder structure in a proper format. So you can see that this bookseller folder and all its components I have just downloaded. It has a MySQL connector, then a pom.xml. I'm going to use Maven for building the load. Then in the source src main web app, you have the index.jsp and order.jsp. These two files have the actual code. We can just quickly go there and see. Go to bookseller src main web app, do ls, just do cat index.jsp. The Java experts amongst you can understand this code. I'm not going to go line by line. There is a bookstore named Academy Bookstore, and it lists a few author names. You can see the author names here: Tolstoy, Agatha Christie, Shakespeare, J.K. Rowling, etc. And then it connects with a database. That's what it is trying to do. In this database, you will have the books written by these authors. So it is connecting with a database and it will list all the books written by the selected author. You can select whichever is your favorite author. And once you get that list, you can choose the book which you want to buy. And once you choose the book you want to buy, basically it will call the other file which is order.jsp to fulfill that particular order. We'll see that code as well. Cat order.jsp. Again, it just contains the bare minimum functionality. Academy Bookstore, order management, and there is some code. You can go through it and try to understand. Basically, it also gives the feedback link as well. There is the feedback part. And finally, it gives a back link as well so that you can go back to the main page. So that's it about the code. Now let's install Maven. For that, we need to issue this command sudo apt install maven -5 confirmation. So it is installing Maven. Once it is complete, you can issue this command mvn version to check if Maven is installed. You can see that 3.6 is installed. That is good. Now using Maven, we can build this image. Again, since the focus is on Elastic Beanstalk deployment, I'm not going into the details of pom.xml, how it is created, how you create a Maven project, etc. I'm not explaining that part. That you can search in Google and find out, or we will do another video later as a separate one. So right now I'm going to build this package using this command mvn clean package. This is a spelling mistake. So what it does is it creates the package including all the dependencies, etc. It will create a new folder called target. We'll see. It will take a few seconds. You can see that it is downloading a number of dependencies, etc., which will be made part of the final package. So you can see that it says build success. Just do ls. You can see it has created a folder called target. So let me do ls target. So you can see that it has created this var file, bookseller 1.0.0.var. This is the name I have specified in my pom.xml, which is the configuration file for Maven build. So what next? We have downloaded the code. We have built the var file or build the software package which can be installed in Elastic Beanstalk. What next? I need to upload it into an S3 bucket. That is the next. So you need to create an S3 bucket. I have already created an S3 bucket. I can show you the bucket list. Okay, so this is what is called bucket list. So AWS S3 LS. Here I'm going to use trainings 2023 to store my var file. So the command to copy this var file from Cloud9 environment to S3 bucket is this. I'm going to copy that command. As I said, this command will be part of the cheat sheet, so you can get access to it. Okay, it has been uploaded. We can go there and check. It is in trainings 2023 for Beanstalk. You can see the var file here. Okay, that is good. So we have created the var file and uploaded to an S3 bucket. Now the next step is to create the Elastic Beanstalk application. So let's do that. Okay, so now we have to create an Elastic Beanstalk application. So I am in Elastic Beanstalk console. Click on create application and give any name. I'm going to give the name bookseller 101. And application tags you can give any, but if you want to create a resource group with you as the owner, you can put like this, owner, and your name, first name you can give, so that if you go to the resource group, you can easily see all the resources which you have created. If you put any common tag to your resources. Platform, here I'm going to choose Tomcat, and platform branch and platform version, etc. you leave it as default. Application code, I'm going to upload my code from an S3 bucket, so choose upload your code. And here either local file from your workstation, or you can give the S3 URL. So I have uploaded it into S3 URL. So I'm going to give the S3 URL. So how will you get the S3 URL? You go to your S3 bucket and click on your var file and you can see the object URL here. Just copy this and come back, paste. That's it. Everything else you can leave it as default and click on create application. This will take up to 10 minutes. Okay. So we'll leave it here, and what we'll do is we'll go to the next step, which is to create a database instance. So let us do that. Click on RDS, open in a new tab and close this. This is my RDS. Okay, so I don't have any database instance created. I'm going to create an Aurora MySQL. Let me click on create database. Instead of going for easy create, let us do some work. Standard create. Here you can choose the first one, Aurora MySQL compatible. This you can choose. And version you choose whichever is the default, the latest version, that's okay. Templates, production, dev test. Let me go for dev test. This is only for training purpose. And cluster identifier, you can give any name. Say I will give it as my first name - bookseller. You can put any name, that's okay. And username admin, that's what usually I use. And the password, any password you can type, but please remember that password. We need to use it while logging into this DB instance. So I've given the password, and it is asking memory optimized class or burstable class. Let us go for the smallest one because our database is very small with some 10 entries or so. I'll go for burstable class DB T3 small. So remember that many of these Aurora database with T3 small instance type and Elastic Beanstalk, etc., they may not come under free tier. So there will be some nominal charges. So please ensure that immediately after you complete this lab, you clean it up. In my lab, I have included the cleanup steps as well, but please remember that. Burstable class, multi-AZ deployment, leave all these as default. Connectivity, these things let it be default values. Default VPC, all those things are fine. Public access, please choose yes, public access. Then it is asking for VPC security group. You need to ensure that you have created a security group which has MySQL Aurora 3306 port open. So I have one already created, which is Yunus DBSG. I'll just show you the security group. Go to your security groups under security, and this is my Yunus DBSG. Click on that. If you come down, you can see that I have opened MySQL Aurora 3306. That's it. I'm going to close this and go back to RDS. Availability zone, no preference, that is okay. RDS proxy, I'm not going to do anything because this is a simple training exercise. Let us leave most of the fields as default. Password authentication, all these are fine. Create database. Again, this also will take maybe up to 10 minutes, and we can continue with the exercise only after the Elastic Beanstalk is up and running and the database instance is up and running. Let us go back and check what happened to the Elastic Beanstalk environment. Let me go to the applications. So here, this is the application. Click on that. It is still pending. So we need to stop here and wait for the Beanstalk to come up and the database instance to come up. So finally, after a few minutes of wait time, our database is ready. You can see that this is the cluster and you have the writer instance which is ready. Now we can use that. So how do we use it? Click on this writer instance and find out the endpoint and port. Port is 3306, we already know that, but find out the endpoint. Using this, we can build the connection string. Again, I'm copying it into my cheat sheet. So since you will have access to my cheat sheet, you can also easily create this connection string. So you need to go to the Cloud9 environment, and using your connection string, you can connect with this particular database. So let me paste the connection string here. Again, this format is given in the cheat sheet. You can just replace this endpoint name. Endpoint you can take from here, and you can replace that endpoint name here, and then rest everything will be same. So just enter. It is asking for the password. You remember whatever password you specified for admin. You have to give that password here. So you have logged into that Aurora database. Now you need to create a database, and in that database you need to create a table, and in that table you have to add a few entries which will be some book names with authors and price, quantity, etc. So that's what we are going to do. As a first step, let me create the database called EBDB. So you can issue the command create database EBDB, Elastic Beanstalk database. It has created the database. You can just issue the command show databases, and you can see EBDB is there. Or let's use EBDB database, And in this database, I'm going to create a table. So for that, I'm going to copy a command. So it will create a table called books. Now you can issue the command show tables and it will tell you that in EBDB database, there is a table called books. Now what next? We need to make a few entries into that table. Okay, for that you can use the command insert into. Again, I'm going to copy paste close to 10 entries I have made. Let me see if the table books has all these entries registered. I'll issue the command select star from books, which means it will list all the contents. I forgot the semicolon. So you can see that I have added these 10 entries. When you are doing the exercise, if you want to change the author names, change the books names, etc., please go ahead and change that. Now we have updated the database. Now you can exit, and the next step will be to connect the Elastic Beanstalk application with this RDS database. So let me exit and go back to my Elastic Beanstalk environment. Refresh this. It is showing as pending, but it is already more than 10 minutes. You can see that it is okay. Health is okay. If you go to environments, you can see the environment which we have created. We created the application, and corresponding to the application, AWS created the environment. Now, if you click on this URL, right click and say open link in new tab, you can see the web page. Okay, this is a very simple one. Let us come back to this after we connect the database. So how do we connect the database? For that, you click on this environment and a few new menu items will appear on the left side. Out of that, click on configuration. So here a lot of categories are there, software, instances, etc. Many of them are there. What we need to update is software. So what do? You click on edit. Come down, and here you need to add, there are 5 different environment parameters or environment variables you need to add. Let us add one by one. First one is RDS hostname. Okay, where do we get this hostname? It is nothing but your endpoint. Go to RDS management console, just copy this, that's it. Paste, that is done. Now the next is RDS port. So which is the port? You remember it is 3306. So that is also fine. Now we need to add RDS DB name or the database name. What is the database name we added? EBDB. So that is also added. The next thing is the username and password. So you have to say RDS username, it is admin, and password. I'm going to type the password. You need to type the password and you need to click on apply. So by this step, we have established a connection between the Elastic Beanstalk application and the database. Now, corresponding to this, the code of the application also uses these variables. I'll just go back and show you once again. You have to go to src main web app and just do cat index.jsp. You can see that the code actually uses each of these variables. That's how it actually creates the JDBC connection string, etc. So you can go through the code and try to understand further. So we have established the connection. Now what? Now we need to test it. How do we test it? You go to your environment. Okay. It is still creating that connectivity. So in the background you may hear a cat sound. It has nothing to do with this Tomcat application which we are running. That is my pet cat. Okay, so it is ready. Now what do? We go to applications. We click on the application name and we get the URL. Right click on that and open link in new tab. So this is the main web page. So if I select a author, for example, Agatha Christie, it should actually list all the books, not all the books, whatever I have added in the database, it should list the books and price. I have only added 2 books. You can see that in the database. If I go back to the database and go up, you can see that Agatha, Death on the Nile and ABC Murders. That's what is showing up here. Death on the Nile and ABC Murders. Assume that you are going to buy this, Death on the Nile, order. Again, this is a very simple web page. If you are planning to start a new company, don't use this particular code. Your company will fail on day 1. Thank you for ordering books. Your feedback, please. I'll say good. No, excellent. Because anyway, you are giving feedback to yourself, so it has to be excellent. Submit the feedback. Thank you for the feedback and back. So you're on the main page. That's it. It's a very simple application. The idea is to show how an application with a database connectivity or application plus database, multi-tier application, how it can be installed using Elastic Beanstalk. So please try to do this exercise and please give your feedback on the comment box. Now please don't forget to clean up whatever you have created, because these are costly resources. When I say costly, it is not in millions of dollars, but even if it is a small amount, when we are actually learning, it is better to limit that cost, right? So you have to terminate the RDS, go to RDS, and you have selected the writer instance, go here and say delete. So create final snapshot. No, I don't need any snapshot. I acknowledge, you have to say that, and then say delete me. Okay, so that is deleted. What next? And it will take some time, but it says deleting, and the cluster also will be deleted after this, so you don't need to worry about the cluster. Now go to Elastic Beanstalk and application. You can delete the application. If you delete the environment only, application will remain. Later you can restart the environment, but I'm going to delete the application as well. Delete application. So here it will ask you to enter the name of the application. Please do that. Not one. Delete. So Elastic Beanstalk is also done. Now you have to go to Cloud9. So this also can be deleted, but because this is running on a T2 micro, it is still free. So that is good, but you need to delete this also. For doing that, you can go to Cloud9 and delete it. Delete. Here D has to be capital. Delete. Okay, that is good. Thanks for watching this video, and please let me know your feedback. I'll come back to you with another useful video soon, and please consider subscribing to this channel. Thank you. Bye.